Hey all, it's David Ducker coming back at you, and today I'm going to be answering a question. A viewer posed to me the question, what makes a good RPG? Uh, he asked me what to recommend some RPGs, and I was talking to him about what he wanted. He wasn't really sure. He just kind of wanted a list of good RPGs to go through. But I thought it'd be an interesting video topic. Ultimately, what to me makes an RPG good, and I'll do another video on what makes one bad. But they're very related concepts. They really are the mirror image of the other. So to me, what makes a good RPG is simply one that allows me to do what I want to do with it. I want a rule set, or a setting. Or both, hopefully they're intertwined, that will allow me to achieve my goals. And my goals are usually going to be to make a character and tell a story. And that's pretty much it. So telling a story, there are certain rules that can get in the way of that. So you just need to identify them and avoid those. And there are rules that will allow you to help you tell the story. So find and embrace those rules. But usually the characterization is a better measure of what's a really good RPG and what's a bad one. Can I write a character on paper and then go to put him into your character sheet and have it really smoothly transition? Can I make this into a half-hour project instead of a 4-hour project? Can I do everything I want to do? Or do I have to say, oh, I can't really make him like this? I just can't. I lose some elements when I transfer him through. And I don't want to lose any elements. So to me, that's really what the measure is. Some systems, allow you to do that with a class or without a class. I always talk about Warhammer Fantasy as 150 classes. It's very easy for me to look at a character and say, oh, well, here's the classes. And I'll just go down the damn list. 150 classes. I'll start at A. Well, I don't remember what it is. Archer, perhaps? But I'll look at the first one. Should he be of that class? No, 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 no. Yes, no, no. I'll just check off any class he might belong to. And then I'll probably take all of them. And I'll say, well, there's 150 classes. He might fit into like 10 of these, so I'm going to be a level 10 character. I'll have 10 classes. That's it. And for Warhammer, that's fine. It works that way. It's perfect. Or for a lot of other systems that are point-based, if you look at GURPS, springs to mind right away, but a D6 system, a lot of Savage Worlds products, where I'll take the list of feats or qualities and I'll just go down the list. And I'll check mark any that I think he might have. And the ability scores, that can vary a lot per system, but usually it's the same kind of thing. I'll just say, oh, strength on a scale of 1 to 10, what is he? This character might be average, so he's a 5. Most systems allow you to do this to some degree. And then you can just make the character you have in your mind really quick, like a half hour, and that's it. To me, that's a good system right there. Whatever system lets me do that. Like I said, GURPS, D6, Savage Worlds, World of Darkness, Warhammer, even though they're class-based, they allow you to do that. And I'll probably do another video on just specifically bad role-playing games. But basically, they're anything that doesn't allow me to do that. Same thing, again, I talked about storytelling in terms of the pacing of the plot. But for the GM, it can be in terms of world building and storytelling in terms of the world. If I have an idea about how magic works, I should be able to do it with your system. That one can be a stretch, and I'll certainly forgive any system that doesn't let you customize the magic, the cosmology, the powers, the technology. I can forgive that because it can be very specific. And I'll probably talk more about that when I talk about bad RPGs. But basically, if you're going to be a generic tool set, if you want to be a good tool set, you should have multiple options. You should have, true naming and mana and elemental systems and a skill-based system, whatever kind of magic you want. The GM should be able to just pick the one that he wants. Or if you're a specific campaign setting, then you should just really clearly outline and detail how things work in that setting. Where do bards get their magic from? You should actually outline that in your rulebook somewhere, unless you want to be a piece of trash. And I can think of certain RPGs that might not tell you where bards get their magic from, for example. Or if you're going to include, a god in your setting, you better outline what his tenets are, what his holy book is, who the heroes and the saints and the prophets of his religion are, how they pray, what their regalia, their holy symbols are. I need a lot of detail if I'm going to roleplay this. A person who has studied this god, if I'm going to roleplay that person, I need to know about the god too. So if you're talking about what makes a good RPG in terms of one with its own setting built in, again, Warhammer is like my go-to because they give you all that detail. If I'm playing an Amber Mage, I know all about Amber Mages. I can roleplay one easily, as opposed to, certain systems that might say, okay, well, you're a diviner. And I was like, okay, well, what do diviners use as their philosophy? It's like, oh, I don't know. It's not in the book. Oh, what do diviners do differently from abjurers? Like, what's their methodology? Do they use more spell circles or powders or wands or, the etheric astrolabe? What do they do? And it's like, oh, I don't know. The book just says they're just like abjurers but different, but it doesn't say how they're different. I'm like, that's, now I got to do work. And I bought this book so I wouldn't have to do work. And that's not okay. I mean, it's okay if it's a generic tool set book, but if it's so specific that there are these differences, you need to lay out what the differences actually are. So again, it depends on what you're looking for. If you want a tool set, you want different things versus if you do want if you want to play in the Warhammer universe or the Blue Planet universe or the Warhammer 40,000 universe or Star Wars. In Star Wars, if the book doesn't have rules for teleporters, that's fine, because Star Wars doesn't have teleporters. Same thing, Star Trek, if they don't have rules for androids, that's fine, because they don't have androids, except for Mr. Data. And if you only got one of something, and it's this obscure artifact, it's fine not to have rules or to have custom rules. That's not a problem. So fairly long ramble on my part, but basically, a good RPG will let you make the character you want, it'll let you make the world you want, and it'll let you tell a story. That's pretty much it. You hardly notice that it's there. The rules are interchangeable with other rules, perhaps. I could take my Savage Worlds game and the next week convert it all into GURPS, and nobody would notice. It wouldn't be a problem. They both let me do everything I want to do. They both feel realistic. They're both consistent. So that's no problem at all. So I hope that answers the question. I did message the gentleman back as well, but I thought it was an interesting question for a video as well. Anyways, everybody have a good day out there. Cheers.